All right, can you hear me now? All right, can you hear me now? Is that better? It looks like my microphone died. So, okay, awesome. It looks like my microphone died. All right, so I'll just say over what I was saying. I don't know when it died. I was just saying that we are on chapter one. So if you have the book, we are not too far into it. We just got started talking about Albert Einstein and Newton. So I'm just gonna kind of read over the page that we were on last, so that we can go ahead and get started onto the next page. So I know that we were around page 8 or 9 when the audio stopped. So I'm just gonna read where I believe we were. I probably should have wrote down exactly what part we needed to start at, but I feel like it's okay to go back over it. Okay, thank you so much for letting me know. Hey, all right. So, and if anyone wants to come onto the platform with me, if you have your book, that is absolutely fine. I will send you a link so that you can hop on, and then we can all do this together. But I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of read over where we were. Einstein not just rocking the boat, rocking the universe. About 200 years after Newton, Albert Einstein produced his famous equation E equals mc squared, demonstrating that energy and matter are so fundamentally related that they are one and the same. Essentially, his work showed that matter and energy are completely interchangeable. This directly contradicted Newton and Descartes and ushered in a new understanding of how the universe functions. Einstein didn't single handedly crumble our previous view of the nature of reality, but he did undermine its foundation, and that eventually led to the collapse of some of our narrow, rigid ways of thinking. His theory set off an exploration of the puzzling behavior of light. Scientists then observed that light sometimes behaves like a wave when it bends around a corner, for example, and at other times it behaves like a particle. How could light be both a wave and a particle? According to the outlook of Descartes and Newton, it couldn't. A phenomenon had to be either one or the other. Quickly, it became clear that the dualistic Cartesian Newton model was flawed at the most basic level of all, the subatomic. Subatomic refers to the parts, electrons, protons, neutrons, and so on, that make up atoms, which are the building blocks of all things physical. The most fundamental components of our so called physical world are both waves, energy, and particles, physical matter, depending on the mind of the observer. We'll come back to that. To understand how the world works, we had to look to its tiniest components. Thus, out of these particular experiments, a new field of science was born called quantum physics. Sorry, y'all. My kids are being loud, so I'm hearing them as well. So I'm just trying to focus on this. The solid ground we stand on isn't. This change was a complete reimagining of the world we thought we lived in, and it led to the proverbial rug being pulled from out from under our feet. Feet we used to think were planted on solid ground. How so? Think back to those old toothpick and styrofoam ball models of the atom. Before quantum physics came along, people believed that an atom was made of a relatively solid nucleus with smaller, less substantial objects either located in or around it. The very idea that with a powerful enough instrument we can measure, calculate the mass of, and count number the same subatomic particles that made up an atom made them seem as inert as cows grazing in a pasture. Atoms seem to be made up of solid stuff, right? And I don't know if you guys have the actual physical copy of the book, but it shows the classical atom at the bottom. Nothing could be further from the truth as revealed by the quantum model. Atoms are mostly empty space. Atoms are energy. Think about this. Everything physical in your life is not solid matter. Rather, it's all fields of energy or frequency patterns of information. All matter is more no thing energy than something particles. And then we have the quantum atom. The real quantum atom. Another puzzle, subatomic particles and larger objects play by different rules. But this but this alone wasn't enough to explain the nature of reality. Einstein and others had another puzzle to solve. Matter didn't always seem to behave in the same ways. When physicists began observing and measuring the tiny world of the atom, they noticed that at the subatomic level, the fundamental elements of the atom didn't obey the laws of classical physics the way that larger objects did. Events involving objects in the large world were predictable, reproducible, and consistent. When that legendary apple fell from a tree and moved toward the center of the earth until it collided with Newton's head, its mass accelerated with a consistent force. But electrons, as particles, behaved in an unpredictable, unusual ways. When they interacted with the nucleus of the atom and moved toward its center, they gained and lost energy, appeared and disappeared, and seemed to show up all over the place without regard to the boundaries of time and space. Did the world of the small and the world of the large operate under a very different set of rules? Since subatomic particles, like electrons, were the building blocks of everything in nature, how could they be subject to one set of rules and the things they made up behave according to another set of rules? From matter to energy, particles pull off the ultimate vanishing act. At the level of electrons, scientists can measure energy dependent characteristics such as wavelength, voltage, potentials, and the like. But these particles have a mass that is so infinitesimally small. And I have no idea how to say this. Hold on, y'all. Sorry. What is it? It looks like infinite. So infinitesimally small. So I'm guessing that this, yeah, immeasurably or incalculably small. So just very small. And exists so temporarily as to be almost non existent. This is what makes the subatomic world unique. It possesses not just physical qualities, but also energetic qualities. In truth, matter on a subatomic level exists as a momentary phenomenon. It's so elusive that it constantly appears and disappears, appearing into three dimensions in time and space, and disappearing into nothing, into the quantum field, in no space, no time, transforming from particle to wave, and vice versa. And where do particles go when they vanish into thin air? So on this little diagram here, if you have the hard copy, it says collapsing the wave function. The electron could be anywhere. The electron appears as a particle. The electron disappears into nothing, and the electron reappears as a particle, is basically what it was just saying. So that is what it will look like. Yes, wave, like a frequency. Yes, like a frequency, exactly. The creation of reality. Energy responds to mindful attention. Consider again that old school toothpick and styrofoam ball model of how atoms were constructed. Back then, weren't we led to believe that electrons orbited about the nucleus like planets around the sun? If so, we could pinpoint their location, couldn't we? The answer is yes. In a manner of speaking, but the reason is not at all what we used to think. What quantum physicists discovered was that the person observing or measuring the tiny particles that make up atoms affects the behavior of energy and matter. Quantum experiments demonstrated that electrons exist simultaneously in an infinite array of possibilities or probabilities in an invisible field of energy. Oh, probabilities. Oh my gosh, in an invisible field of energy. But only when an observer focuses attention on any location of any one electron does that electron appear. In other words, a particle cannot manifest in reality. That is ordinary space, time, as we know it, until we observe it. Quantum physics calls this phenomenon collapse of the wave function or the observer effect. We know we now know that the moment the observer looks for an electron, there is a specific point in time and space when all probabilities of the electron collapse into a physical event. With this discovery, mind and matter can no longer be considered separate. They are intrinsically related because subjective mind produces measurable changes on the objective physical world. Are you beginning to see why this chapter is titled The Quantum You? At the subatomic level, energy responds to your mindful attention and becomes matter. How would your life change if you learned to direct the observer effect and to collapse infinite waves of probability into the reality that you choose? Could you get better at observing the life you want? Good question. An infinite number of possible realities await the observer. So ponder this. Everything in the physical universe is made up of subatomic particles such as electrons. But by their very nature, these particles, when they exist as pure potential, are in their wave state while they are not being observed. They are potentially everything and nothing until they are observed. They exist everywhere and nowhere until they are observed. Thus, everything in our physical reality exists as pure potential. If subatomic particles can exist in an infinite number of possible places simultaneously, we are potentially capable of collapsing into existence an infinite number of possible realities, in other words. If you can imagine a future event in your life based on any one of your personal desires, that reality already exists as a possibility in the quantum field, waiting to be observed by you. If your mind can influence the appearance of an electron, then theoretically, it can influence the appearance of any possibility. This means that the quantum field contains a reality in which you are healthy, wealthy, and happy, and possess all of the qualities and capabilities of the idealized self that you hold in your thoughts. Stay with me, and you will see that with willful attention, sincere application of new knowledge, and repeated daily efforts, you can use your mind as the observer to collapse quantum particles and organize a vast number of subatomic waves of probability into a desired physical event called an experience in your life. Like clay, the energy of infinite possibilities is shaped by consciousness, your mind. And if all matter is made up of energy, it makes sense that consciousness, mind in this case, as Newton and Descartes called it, and energy, matter according to the quantum model, are so intimately related that they are one. Mind and matter are completely entangled. Your consciousness, mind, has effects on energy, matter, because your consciousness is energy and energy has consciousness. You are powerful enough to influence matter because at the most elementary level, you are energy with a consciousness. You are mindful matter. In the quantum model, the physical universe is an immaterial, interconnected, unified field of information, potentially everything but physically nothing. The quantum universe is just waiting for a conscious observer, you or me, to come along and influence energy in the form of potential matter by using the mind and consciousness, which are themselves energy, to make waves of energetic probabilities coalesce into physical matter. Just as the wave of possibility of the electron manifests as a particular within a specific momentary event, we as observers cause a particle or groups of particles to manifest physical experiences in the form of events in our lives. This is crucial to understand how you can cause an effect or make a change in your life. When you learn how to sharpen your skills of observation to intentionally affect your destiny, you are well on your way toward living the ideal version of your life by becoming the idealized version of yourself. All right, any questions, or would someone like to go ahead and read? We are connected to everything in the quantum field, which is page 16. And if you would like to read, I can bring you up on the platform. We're going to try to get through this to chapter 2. And I will look up to see if there's any questions or anything like that, or see if anyone wants to read. And y'all just let me know. I will be kind of looking out. All right, so we are connected to everything in the quantum field. Like everything else in the universe, we are, in a sense, connected to a sea of information in a dimension beyond physical space and time. We don't need to be touching or even in close proximity to any physical elements in the quantum field to affect or be affected by them. The physical body is organized patterns of energy and information, which is unified with everything in the quantum field. You, like all of us, broadcast a distinct energy pattern or signature. In fact, everything material is always emitting specific patterns of energy, and this energy carries information. Your fluctuating states of mind, consciously or unconsciously, change that signature on a moment to moment basis because you are more than just a physical body. You are a consciousness using a body and a brain to express different levels of mind. Another way to look at how we humans in the quantum field are interconnected is through the concept of quantum entanglement or quantum non local connection. Essentially, once two particles can be initially linked in some way, they will always be bonded together beyond space and time. As a result, anything that is done to one will be done to the other, even though they are spatially separated from one another. This means that since we too are made up of particles, we are all implicitly connected beyond space and time. What we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. Hmm. Think about the implications of this. If you can wrap your mind around this concept, then you have to agree that the you that exists in a probable future is already connected to the you in this now, in a dimension beyond this time and space. Stay tuned. By the end of this book, that idea just might seem normal to you. Weird science. Can we affect the past? Since we're all interconnected across distance and time, does this suggest that our thoughts and feelings can influence events in our past as well as those we desire in our future? In July 2000, Israeli Dr. Leonard Libovitch conducted a double blinded, randomized, controlled trial involving 3,393 hospital patients divided into a control group and an intercession group. He put out to he set out to see whether prayer could have an effect on their condition. Prayer experiments are great examples of mind affecting matter at a distance. But stay with me here because everything is not always what it seems. Libovitch selected patients who had suffered sepsis, an infection, while hospitalized. He randomly designated half the patients to have prayers said for them, while the other half were not prayed for. He compared the results in three categories: how long fever lasted, length of hospital stay, how many died as a result of the infection. The prayed for benefited from an earlier decrease in fever and a shorter hospitalization time. The difference in the number of deaths among the prayed for and not prayed for groups was not statistically significant, although better in the prayed for group. That's a powerful demonstration of the benefits of prayer and how we can send an intention out into the quantum field through our thoughts and feelings. However, there's one additional element to this story that you should know about. Did it strike you as slightly odd that in July 2000, a hospital would have more than 3,000 cases of infection at once? Was it a very poorly sterilized place, or was some kind of contagion running rampant? When was this book written? Hold on, y'all. He said July 2000. This came out in 2012. I didn't know about that in July 2000. Okay. Actually, those who were praying weren't praying for patients who were infected in 2000. Instead, unbeknownst to them, they were praying for lists of people who had been in the hospital from 1990 to 1996, 4 to 10 years prior to the experiment. The pray for patients actually got better during the 1990s from the experiment conducted years later. Let me say this another way. The patients who were prayed for in 2000 all showed measurable changes in health, but those changes took effect years before. A statistical analyst of this experiment proved that these effects were far beyond coincidence. This demonstrates that our intentions, our thoughts and feelings, and our prayers not only affect our present or future, but they can actually affect our past as well. Now, this leads to the question, if you were to pray or focus on an intention for a better life for yourself, could it affect your past, present, and future? The quantum law says that all potentials exist simultaneously. Our thinking and our feelings affect all aspects of life beyond both space and time. Our state of being or state of mind, when mind and body are one. Please note throughout this book, I will refer interchangeably to your having and creating a state of being or a state of mind. For example, we could say that how you think and how you feel create a state of being. I want you to understand that when I use the terms state of being and state of mind, your physical body is a part of that state. In fact, as you will see later on, many people exist in a state in which the body has become the mind, when they are ruled almost exclusively by the body and how it feels. So when I talk about the observer having an effect, it is not just the brain that is at work influencing matter, but the body as well. It is your state of being when mind and body are one, as an observer, which has effects in the external world. Thoughts, feelings produce test tube results. We communicate with the quantum field primarily through our thoughts and feelings. Since our thoughts are themselves energy, as you know, the electrical impulses the brain generates can easily be measured by devices such as an EEG. They are one of the primary means by which we send out signals into the field. Before I go into greater detail on how this works, I want to share with you a remarkable study that demonstrates how our thoughts and feelings influence matter. Cellular biologist Glenn Ryan, PhD, conceived of a series of experiments to test healers' ability to affect biological systems. Since DNA is more stable than substances such as cells or bacterial cultures, he decided to have healers hold test tubes containing DNA. This study took place at the HeartMath Research Center in California. The folks there have conducted extraordinary research into the physiology of emotions, heart brain interactions, and much more. Essentially, they and others have documented a specific link between our emotional states and our heart rhythms. When we have negative emotions, such as anger and fear, our heart rhythms become erratic and disorganized. In contrast, positive emotions, love and joy, for instance, produce highly ordered, coherent patterns that heart math researchers refer to as heart coherence. In Dr. Ryan's experiment, he first studied a group of 10 individuals who were well practiced in using techniques that heart math teaches to build heart focused coherence. They applied the techniques to produce strong, elevated feelings such as love and appreciation. Then, for 2 minutes, they held vials containing DNA samples suspended in deionized water. When those samples were analyzed, no statistically significant changes had occurred. A second group of trained participants did the same thing, but instead of just creating positive emotions, a feeling of love and appreciation, they simultaneously held an intention, a thought, to either wind or unwind the strands of DNA. This group produced statistically significant changes in the conformation, shape of the DNA samples, and in some cases, the DNA was wound or unwound as much as 25%. All right. All right. Are you all still with me? Let me know if you're still here. I just want to check and make sure and see if you guys can still hear me. If you have any questions or anything like that. Can you all still hear me? Are you still there? Do you have your book? Are you following along? I see that my reception doesn't look too great. So, am I still here? Is it okay? How's it working? Are there any questions? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know because I don't know unless you all say something. Oops. All right, thank you. So I don't know if you got like, so it is really for me, like sometimes it's difficult reading out loud. Um, kind of always been something that I've struggled with. So, you know, it it just I'm also doing this for myself as well because one of the things that I struggle with is public speaking or speaking in front of people. And that's the time where I try to like rush through everything. So I'm trying to take my time, but also trying not to be distracted from what's going on outside of this room. So I appreciate everyone who does stick here beside me while I do this. It's not that simple, not that easy to do. But I'm really liking this book so far. I love how this study helped people from the past. Yeah, I found that was very interesting to me. Just because I didn't know that you like how could you help someone from the past, you know? Like how could a prayer that's in the future help someone in the past, right? It's really awesome when you think about it because it just means that our mind and the way that things work and just how the universe makes things for you is even greater than we could even imagine, right? So, it really amazes me how things really work. Yeah, you're right about that. Time is not real, right? Because we're all here in the same space and time, really. I mean, how can something in the present change something in the past? It has to be the same time, I feel like, right? So it is just very interesting, just even reading about this. And that means that everything that we do really can be changed, no matter how hard we, like if we just pray about it, if we just, manifest it, if we just think it, that means that we can really just change anything. We can change everything if we just have that intention and we set that intention for something more positive, something greater than ourselves. So, all right. So, we still got quite a few more pages left in chapter 1. It's quite a lot, actually. So what we'll do is we'll finish up this section here that we're reading on, thoughts and feelings produce test tube results, and then we'll start off um, next week with thoughts and feelings broadcasting our electromagnetic signal to the quantum field. So a third group of trained subjects held a clear intent to change the DNA, but they were instructed not to enter into a positive emotional state. In other words, they were only using thought intention to affect matter. The result no changes to the DNA samples. The positive emotional state that the first group entered did nothing by itself to the DNA. Another group's clearly held intentional thought, unaccompanied by emotion, had no impact. Only when subjects held both heightened emotions and clear objectives in alignment were they able to produce the intended effect. An intentional thought needs an energizer, a catalyst, and that energy is an elevated emotion. Heart and mind working together, feelings and thoughts unified into a state of being. If a state if a state of being can wind and unwind strands of DNA in 2 minutes, why does this say about what does this say about our ability to create reality? What the heart math experiment demonstrates is that the quantum field doesn't respond simply to our wishes, our emotional requests. It doesn't just respond to our aims, our thoughts. It only responds when those two are aligned or coherent. That is when they are broadcasting the same signal. When we combine an elevated emotion with an open heart and a conscious intention with a clear thought, we signal the field to respond in amazing ways. The quantum field responds not to what we want, it responds to who we are being. Okay, so let me write this down real quick so that I don't forget. Because when we come back next week, whoever comes back next week, I've tagged the people who I know said they were interested in the broadcast. but if there are more, sorry if I forgot to tag you. So we're going to be starting off with thoughts and feelings, broadcasting our electromagnetic signal to the quantum field. That's where we'll be starting next week. Also, I'm trying not to go too far. I want you guys to be able to join in. Um, I want you guys to be able to join in and read with me and have more discussion. Those sort of things. Maybe I will maybe I will like have some questions posted for y'all that y'all can think about. And then whatever questions are there, you guys can, you know, like think about write them down, um, share, your thoughts and things like that. So I'll think of something for that. But I mean, if not, I don't mind. I'll just read the book here on camera and you guys can do whatever it is. I mean, either way, I don't mind doing it alone. It's always nice to have other people join in, but I will definitely continue doing this. I like doing this, and I think it helps me a little bit. So no problem. Hey Tiffany, thanks for joining. Nope, I definitely understand. It was kind of like a little bit tonight for me. My kids were being super loud when I first started, and things like that. Um, do you have your book? I actually was going to go ahead and end the live. We're gonna pick up on page 20 next Monday on thoughts and feelings, broadcasting our electromagnetic signal to the quantum field. So we're up to page 20. Okay, awesome. So I don't know how the audio shows. If you're able to, like stop it on that part, then okay, awesome. Yep, page 20. Exactly. It's towards the bottom. So let me put okay, cool. Let me put it in the comment section too, real quick, so that it's there. And I am hungry, so yeah. Let's see. So we will be picking up next week. We will start page 20. Thoughts and feelings. Broadcasting. Oops. Broadcasting electromagnetic signal to the quantum field. Hello. I hope that you get some much needed rest. Some R&R for yourself is always important above anything else. So make sure that I appreciate you hopping on here. We're about to hop off. I went ahead and put where we're going to be starting at. You are so welcome. Where we're going to be starting at next week. We're going to be starting page 20. It's down towards the bottom. It's going to be thoughts and feelings broadcasting our electromagnetic signal to the quantum field. That's where we'll be starting next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If 7 p.m. does not work for majority of you all who have been wanting to, read the book, please let me know and I can change the time from 7 to 7:30 or possibly even 8 o'clock, so that you all can join in and really read. So, just let me know in the comment section what time will work best for you all because I want to have the engagement. I want to be able to have, you know, the audience here. Okay. So please just let me know and I'm open to time suggestions after 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. I love y'all. If you are just getting here, please make sure that you catch the replay so that you can catch up. And make sure that if you have wanted to read with us, that you get your book. You can get on Audible, Amazon, a thrift store. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, 7:30. Okay, so we could try 7:30 p.m. next week on Monday. I will put a post out, of course, for you all so that you all can see it, and I'll start posting that this week for next week. So we're gonna try 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Monday for the reading session, so that we can get more people interacting and reading. No problem. Thank you so much for coming. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later on.